Unmute, that helps. Alright, welcome. It is Friday 29th. Unmute. And today we're going to work on the specification package. And that package is on NuGet. You can find it at github.com Ardalis specification. And it's been a while since we had a release of this. So if we go check out NuGet 4.1, 5 months ago was the last time we did this. So we don't have a, hang on a sec. We don't have a 2021 release of this yet. We do have a few new features that we've added. So let me see if I can figure out easily what those are so I can write up some better release notes, and we'll publish one of these. So if we look at our last release, this says 1.2, this says 4.1, so that's obviously not right. 5 months ago, what's the easiest way for me to see what the last package was that had the release? January, December, November, October. Let's see, published version 4.1. There we go. Alright, so we did some refactoring. Basically I have 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple README updates, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 different pull requests it looks like. Okay, refactoring search feature. So let me just make some quick notes here. Hey Shady, how's it going? Alright, so we added, so we refactored chaining, we added a search feature. Can't believe I haven't actually published this thing in so long. So we updated the sample. I'm not sure that needs to go into the NuGet though. Updated search evaluator, I'll just say that's more of the search. README, README, README. Add example of caching. That doesn't need to go into, yeah, so sample updates don't really need to go into the NuGet release notes. This is newer though. As no tracking support. And then we also added in-memory stuff for manipulating the data once it's retrieved. For post manipulation, added test, updated expression for order by. So what that look like? Yeah, that's pretty minor. All right. So probably some bug fixes as well. So let me make sure I've got the latest. And really, this should be pretty trivial to do the update. Hey, Faseni. I thought you might manage to make it on this one, since this is all about our project. Since you're here, I want to make sure I put your name in here, right there. So what should I put here? Tell me what you want that to say. Just put it in the chat. 4.2 package release notes. So we added a bunch of stuff. And is it worth revving a whole version? Did we break anything? I can't remember. So here's my short list of things we did. The sample we can ditch. But adding as no tracking didn't break anything. Refactoring. Did any of this change our... Let's just be safe and make it 5.0. How about that? That's not necessarily ideal because it might imply that there was breaking changes when there weren't. But I think there probably was at least something we broke in here. And 5.0 is a nice round version. I'm not sure if Faseni heard me. Stream is buffering. Ooh. Bandwidth is not ideal. What can I do about that? Nothing breaking, you sure? Alright, well we can do 4.2. I really was looking forward to making it 5.0, but it's fine. We'll stay at 4.2. Let me know name you want to use. And I'm gonna get a little more stable bandwidth if I can by making myself the priority device on my network. How do I do that? Priority device. Yeah, because right now my bandwidth that it's giving is pretty awful. It's showing me 2600. Usually that should be at least 4K. And my router is not even letting me pick priority device. Let's see. $1,200. Yeah, that's pretty horrible. There we go. Priority device. I just gotta find my device, which I think is that one. Save. Alright, that should help. Maybe. Let's see, I need to verify one thing real quick. Yep, alright, good. Fatty Ascending is okay, alright. I've done the best I can to improve my bandwidth. There's only so much I can do. In terms of a network check, we can do this and that, and downstream is going to be fine, but upstream is going to be awful. There's lag on the comments too, you're saying? That's terrible. So that's reasonable, but this is sad. But it's barely tolerable. Oh well. There's nothing I can really do about that right now. Alright, so we're on 4.1. We're going to make it 4.2. I'm going to add my notes from Notepad, which I have lost. Seriously, where'd my Notepad go? It's gone. That's weird. Alright, fine, I'll go look at it again. Here and here and here we saw refactoring, search, and as no tracking. That's pretty much what we got, right? So let's do release notes, refactoring and chaining improvements, added search functionality, added in-memory post-processing functionality. Does that sound reasonable? Save that. And I think if I just check this in, I'll be good. So I think everything else looks fine. Let's just make sure everything still runs all right here. The Dr. Blue is here. Twitch notification on my phone. Alright, now my stream dashboard says my connection is excellent. So let's hope that that is true. Alright, let's see, we got some broken tests. What's up with that? NuGet store using repository. Alright, where are these? Integration tests. Network related, couldn't talk to the database, right? Network path was not found. Is this because we changed the Docker stuff? Or do I just not have the right database set up? Database communication test. Connection string. Data source is database. There should be a Docker component to this, right? Like this run test.bat. I thought maybe the tests would run from Test Explorer, but maybe they don't. Maybe they may only work if I do run test.bat. So, alright, let's just check this in. The build process will run them the right way. Right, it's configured for Docker. I think you have to take a new pull. I thought I did, but let's make sure I'm on latest. Maybe no, maybe I didn't. Yeah, because you refactored all the tests. That's right. Right. So now, yeah, okay, good. Thank you. It would have told me that when I went to push, I think. Alright, so update project file to publish 4.2 to NuGet. And we'll just push that direct and hope for the best. Well, commit it and then push it. Successful. Okay, so now let's watch the action and hopefully everything works. So, publish, update. Which one of these is the publish? That's ASP.NET Core, that's publish. Alright, so this should do the trick. If you want to run through Test Explorer, configure for shared database fixture. Okay, cool. Assuming that this all works, we should be able to see this appear on NuGet.org, and we can move on to our next thing. I think another one I haven't published in a while. Actually, let's go back to NuGet.org and search for Ardalis. This is 4 months ago. This is 4 months ago. That one I don't care about. That one's really old. Specification we're doing right now. API endpoints was 6 months ago. I don't know if I have any updates for that one. This one's going out right now. I think Ardalis result had some new stuff. So let's take a look at that one. 5 months ago, 302, source repo. From 5 months ago, what's happened since then? Shady's done some more stuff, and I don't see where this says I did a push. There's version 3. We added Fluent. That was a different project. We messed around with the value types. We added mediator for that. Success with this was new. Success with message was new. Page result was new. So those both need to be published. So we need to do result next. So while that's downloading, let me go, we'll keep that one open. And we'll go open up Ardalis result. And we'll make sure to actually get latest to begin with on this one. Alright, so let's make sure I've got the latest version on this machine, which we do. And this one, the tests hopefully ought to work. If I have any. Thought I had tests. There's tests. Where's the test? Here we go. Look at all those tests. Alright, let's run these. Probably have to change the version number for the EF plugin package as well, so it can be published. Yeah, that's a good point. We got broken unit tests. What? Make sure I already set them up to date. So Shady, I think this was code that you had just added recently, right? Let's see. Here, value is required, argument null exception. Initializes value to null, given a null argument. But we, at some point, put a guard clause on that, it looks like. Here. Value is required. So that means our test is just out of date. So if we come back to this, initializes value to null, given null constructor, that should really be expects it to raise an exception, which probably we already have. Status, no we don't have. So I just want to change the expected behavior of that to say that we expect it to raise an exception, I think. So what is that syntax for that? Assert.throws, argument, null exception for assert.throws. For this, so we need an action for that, and we can just put this whole thing in there, get rid of that, and I don't even need to assign it to anything, we just do that, and that's really the whole test, right? So let's run that. So that worked. Let's see. Alright, the rest of those are probably similar. Like this one says I should just give you a value with that. Let's just so that if I get rid of that one and I get rid of that one, it should be happy now. Boom, boom. Okay, that's good. Meanwhile, let's go back over here. Still thinking about publishing. Where are we at in our process? Oh, now it says it succeeded 6 minutes ago. Alright, so this is now 4.2. Excellent. Alright, and Fadi is telling me that we need to do something with the EF core one also. Because otherwise this one won't update and it should be tied to that one. So let's go fix that here. So in Solution Explorer, we'll go to Specification, we'll grab the authors, find the EF one here, and make the authors the same. And we'll make 4.2 the same. And I don't think I actually changed, like we didn't change the EF core one substantially, did we? Evaluator, query, specification. I don't remember. Search was new though. Yeah, that was new. So we definitely added search to this. That should be alright then to go. So let's just do that. So make sure we're latest. Update Ardalis.spec. Commit. Alright, did I miss anything? Description, summary, URL, package tags, version is 4.2. Search extensions. Okay. Yeah, I think I have that basically covered. So that. Anything else? I think that's good. So commit that. And as soon as I push this, it will update. We should think about when we want to update this to EF Core 5 though, because it'll be another thing. Clevar, hello, hello. But not today, so let's push that. Alright, and then that will be back here. We'll watch that to change. There'll be a new publish here. That'll look like that and that. And we'll let that start doing its thing. Meanwhile, we'll multitask over here on result and keep fixing broken tests. 2 failed. So convert from null. This is definitely a breaking change, it seems. So what is this doing? Convert from, so expected null object is a null object. And I'm expecting here that result.value will be set to null. So it's definitely a breaking change to say that we're going to blow up when we get a null coming in. Convert to null object value. So basically, these two tests need to go away, I think. Convert to object value, convert from object value. Let me think if we have any issues that are open that talk about this. So here, issues, non-generic result, right, readme, sample, fluent, alright, let's look for anything that has to do with null. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, Vicente, do you want to add a issue for updating to EF5? Do we need one? Is there already one there? Improve as no tracking integration test after EF Core upgrade. So Clevar has one he just added 5 days ago. And it has that change tracker clear. Right, so I think we just need a separate one for EF Core 5, a separate issue to link this one to. Alright, did that run already? That's quick. Okay, let's see. Refresh. There it is. Not indexed yet, so you guys can't see it, but I can see it. It's right there. So that worked. So I'm going to say we're done. If Clevar or Vicente or one of you want to add an EF Core 5 issue here, that would be awesome. And we'll come back to that. We could do that any time. If somebody wants to PR that, that would be fine. Let me finish getting result pushed, and then maybe we can look at some of these issues and see if we can knock some of them out today. Alright, so result doesn't have any issues related to null. I'm clearly breaking stuff that used to work a different way though, because we added a guard clause saying value is required, which someone wanted. So I'm going to pull these out which I hate to do, but I need the test to pass. So let's see what that does. And let's run all the tests one more time. Alright. I'm going to add an issue just so I have something to track against. And that issue is going to say result value, if provided, cannot be null. So we don't want to have a value on a result that is null, since that should be represented by a non-typed result or a not found or other non-success result. Okay, I think that is accurate. And that's currently the behavior we have. So in here, all my tests pass. I don't think I need any new tests. I think all this stuff works. If we look at result, result does not have a value. So if you want to have something that returns nothing, you would just have it return a result. If you have something that wants to return something, then you would return a result of t. And result of t now does this check. Use, let's just say use non-generic result if no value needed. Right. Okay, so that should be good. Currently this is all in a separate branch, it looks like. Which I didn't realize till now. That's, I probably want to be in, I probably need to be in the master branch. Let's push this and see what that looks like. So commit, fix tests, and fix typo. That's about all I did. Commit all that, push all that up. I don't remember if I already pull requested this non-generic result. That's the challenge, but we'll find that out in a second. So over here, if we go to pull request, see what's there to do. Cannot merge. That's not good. Why not? Do this, do that, do that. Alright, so did I already merge that in? I might have. Let's go back to our code and look at our commits. December 11th. Doesn't look like I did it, so I must just be out of sync and I need to get the latest pulled into that. So let me fetch master down. So come over here, go to master, pull the latest of that, then switch back to my non-generic result, and let's merge master into this. There's a way to do that from here, isn't there? Where's merge? Auto merge, conflicting. Cool. Alright, so I just need result.cs. I don't think we merged that before. Discussion is done in NetPR. Thanks, Viceni. Oh wait, no, that's a different thing. Discussion, alright, you're talking about two different things. So, pull 62. Alright, so we discussed all this. Okay. This branch has not been deployed. Did we never merge this? It's supposed to support EF6 back in November. Alright, let's come back to this and see if we can merge that. I want to focus on result for a moment. I need to do a manual merge here. And there's all kinds of stuff that's busted. So this looks like result and result of t got mangled together. We have to merge and then work on top of it. Right, okay. Alright, so result of t is fine. And when we have result, we need it to just be this one, not this one. So this goes away because it's non-generic. And between these two, we have either result invalid, or we also have result of t, result of t, result of t. So anything result of t I don't want. So this all goes away, I think. And we get that. Alright. This is all page result of t, which I don't think we want. That page result of t never made it over here though, did it? So I need to keep it, but I need to move it, because this was another feature that got added. So we'll copy that and bring it over here, which we'll put with success. Page result of t, page result equals new, it's read only. New page result. Do we have a page result of t? We do. Inherits from result of t, and result of t doesn't let us set that. If I get a private set, that should work though, because we're doing it right here. Success message, same deal. Where's that defined? Does not contain a definition for success message. Alright, because it's over here, and I haven't fixed this yet. So there's success. So this all can go away. Like that. Alright. Getting closer. So on head we had nothing, and here we had a T. We don't want the T because that was all on result of T, so this all goes away. We only want to pass in the status. Head requires status. This one had all these operators. The only thing different is the success message, which I think I do want to keep. So this all goes away, right? Because you already have the status. And I maybe need that to be private set. And then that merges. Like that, right? The stream on Twitch is very unstable and buffering. Yeah, it's been being flaky today for some reason. Here's what Twitch says. At the moment it's excellent, which I think is telling me that it's good to go. But if I say Google speed test, it's going to tell me that my upload is not very good, and I apologize for that, but I don't know that I can do anything about it. So sorry. The YouTube video, which I'll post in a couple days usually, is usually much better, because it's all being, I mean it won't buffer because it'll have it all. Alright, so that's fine, that's fast. Let's see what this is. This is, we're orange. Right, so my upload stream is 4100, but it's flaky, it's up and down. 1400's not good. So yeah, now it is fine, right? Yeah, so it's flaky. I gotta get that fiber to my house and then I'll be in good shape. Alright, so let's get back to the result thing. I'm sorry about the state of my internet. Alright, we're not quite there yet. So page result of T does not contain success message because we inherited from result of T. Have you tried AutoFixture and what do you think? I like AutoFixture. I use it quite a bit. Reduce FPS. I don't think I can change FPS live. I have to stop and restream if I'm going to do that. Although certainly if that's the issue, I could probably stand to have fewer or shorter, lesser FPS. Let me see, settings, stream, output, bitrate. Yeah, my bitrate's supposed to be 4500 kilobit per second, so sometimes it's there. Video, yeah, the FPS here, here's my current settings. Everything is turned off because it's we're streaming actively. So it's only at 30, which is not huge. I mean, I could probably set it at 15, and that might be okay. And it might help. Maybe I'll think about that for next time. 15 FPS is min for Fluentish video, right? Yeah, I wouldn't want to go below 15. For Pluralsight videos, for Camtasia, we render those at 15. But they don't have any live video at all, right? They're just PowerPoint or code. Alright, let's finish this merge refactoring. Nah, you're fine, you're fine. I need to know if nothing is working and people can't actually even see this. Alright, so just see my errors again. Paged info on the unit test is not there. Success message is not there. Page result of T does not have success message. So here's page result. It inherits from result. Result has a success message right there, so I don't know what you're talking about. I thought I put it there. Page result of T does not contain a definition for success message. It's spelled right. Success message is on result. Oh, but not result of T. And result of T does not inherit from the other one. Alright, so they just need this to be on this. We'll put it there. Now, let's try that. Okay, no overload for success. Takes 2 arguments. Success, success. Which one are you hitting? Result or result of T? Result of T dot success. Do you have it? No, you don't. You do right there. So I need none. Why is this just now a problem? I didn't delete one of those, did I? You've got a success with nothing. Why do I need a message for this anyway? So right now this thing never gets set, does it? Let's see all the places that we're hitting success message, just out of curiosity. So result of T sets it here. Line 38. Okay, so when I create a page result, I'll set it. And then for operators, success. So this success message is set there and used somewhere. I expect the result with .success passing in a success message. Okay, so at some point I had that functionality. So I guess I just need to pass that in and set it. and it's on the implicit operators tests that seem to use it. Expected string success message, like this one. Alright, so if I just do a control dot on this and say add a parameter, then result of t dot success, it's not there, it is there right here. Alright, so does that fix it for everything, or do I have some that weren't using the parameter? Right, some of them weren't using the parameter, so it needs to be optional. Why don't we just say equals success. Okay. There's the value, there's the status. Return new result of t value success message equal success message. Hey, successful. Alright. Let's see if these all pass. No. Whole lot of things don't work. Okay. So this says we expect to initialize status to error and set the error message. And what did you do instead? Your message is value is required for value. Okay, so when I created this object, result.object.error.whatever, okay, so result has a static thing here, which takes in a new result. Result.error is what I just hit, takes in a new result. Why is that not working? That toPage result. And page result is always of t, which requires a result of t, which is not going to work without some value to pass it. Is that the issue? So where is toPage result? Go to definition. Alright, so this on result of t, there's a toPage result. Takes that value right there, which is right here. This is kind of a mess, I'm not gonna lie. There's a reason why this never got merged. So we were trying to get a non-generic result, and we wanted that because some folks were saying they didn't need the type, they didn't care about the value at all. But now that we have both of those, it's causing us some headaches. And page result is just more churn on top of that, which I'm sure was working fine when it got merged in originally, before I added this result thing. So I wonder if maybe I just want to push out the page result stuff independently as a new NuGet package and then come back to doing this other work. Because I feel like this is going to require some more focus than I'm getting right now. Alright, so page result, toPage result. Page result T. I've never used this toPage result, so I'm not super familiar with what it needs. Page result constructor. Page info. Page number, page size. Okay. So I can create a paged result with the info and some string. But does this mean theoretically it's got Hey, thank you for the follow, CTI Geek. Appreciate it. So where's the value for this, right? It's just one string. How is that paged? Is Shady still here? He had to go. No, Shady's there. So Shady, you did most of this paged result stuff, right? I'm trying to figure out what, like, where's the page of results here? Because all I see is the string. One string, not a page full of them. If my page size is 10, where are my 10 strings at? Strongly typed int value, same deal. Object value, same deal. Just my test object, that's fine. I can create a page result of that object with paged info. If I pass it null, this ought to blow up. And it says values required. So this is expected. That's what it should do. So page result, that should be initializes values null. This should be throws. Throws given null constructor argument. Assert throws argument null exception. That's what it ought to do. So we're not letting you do that anymore. So run that test. Populates info for paging that is given through page info. Right. Okay, but I don't understand how I would ever use this in real code. That's the part I'm not getting. So this test, I need to just get rid of that null. Get rid of this null. And let's just run all these tests again. So someone had an issue that they posted about paging or page results, right? And there's two closed issues, pagination option. This is the one that you wrote your thing in response to, and he says, what if we have a paged info on the result? Okay. Yeah. Covers paging scenarios. Okay. Looks good. Good PR. Da da da. He didn't do it. Shady did it. Got a PR. Okay. This is all great, but I still don't know when would I ever use this. Just get info plus data, which will be the page. Alright. I'm not seeing it. But somebody else thought this was useful, so that's why we're building it. Let's just rerun those. Still got a bunch of errors. Let's see. So this error here, initializes status to error, sets error message, and instead it's saying value is required, right? Because here I can't convert this null object. This result of object has a static error, and I can't turn that into a page result because it doesn't have a value. So would I say dot value? Value of something, just to make the test pass? Is that what I need to do? Build errors. Dot value cannot be used as a method, right? Needs to be more like with value or something. Result of object, something, or maybe new object. But that doesn't work either, right? Because this is supposed to be just a static call. So how do I get result of object dot error to work on a result of t right here? How will that ever work? It's got two passing tests, so I guess it sometimes works. So this one, it's fine. Result of object dot error, but that's because I'm not doing it to a paginated. So as soon as I try and make it a paginated, it stops working. error works fine because it never tries to get to the value, right? Return new result of t with the status of error. So we hit this one just fine. We just can't hit this one. So can I get a paginated result to hit this one? We get a page result here. It always goes to there. If I just took paged info without a t value as another thing, would that work? If I did that to that, but it still needs something, right? It needs a, well, we can't get to the private one. If I made it protected, I could have it accessible, right? So this could be a protected value with a result status, but I don't know what status to give it. I guess paged result could ask for the status. That probably makes sense, right? So result status status status. Alright, now I don't like this duplication so much, but I don't see a choice there. Okay. So now if I go back to result of t and I pass in an error here, and then I say give me two-paged result, and it goes here, I really want that to be a status, unless it has a value. So now I need to pick. I need to say, well, if you have a value, do one, otherwise do the other, right? So like if value is null, then return new. So how can I set this up? I gotta new it up each time. It's just a matter of these settings though. So let's see. Page result of t, page result equals null, and then spell that right. Paged result right there, and then here we'd say paged result equals new with the paged info and the status of capital status, right? Otherwise, else paged result equals this. Boom. And set the status. Right there. So the status will be set there or there. So down here I can just say page result dot success message equals success message, errors, and validation errors. Really? Like that. Alright, so you don't like this though. Value t getter cannot be handled by pattern null. Please use language version 8 or greater to match an open type with a constant pattern. I thought I was on language version 8. I guess not. Specification was though. So I know I just saw that here. Language version. Let's pull that over. I'm not sure about nullable. That might break the world. Or not. How many warnings we got? Yeah, only 6. That's not bad. Alright, so in a test, I have expected null object not being used. Same as never used. That's fine. No. Net Core App 3 is out of support and will not receive security updates. Okay. We can do the Net Core App 3.1 for now to fix that. Alright, and here's our issue. Non-nullable property value needs some type. It gets set here but not here. Create value must contain a non-null value when exiting constructor. I can make it nullable, but I don't really want it to be nullable. And that's the root of the issue. This thing shouldn't really exist, right? You want to set it to default shady, right? But that seems like, I think we just don't want to ever let this be null. Like, that's the whole point. If we want it to be null, we let them come over here and do a result. But unfortunately, I can't return a result from a result of t constructor. I'd have to have a factory to do that, which is fine. So but they're not even related types, right? Result of t isn't even related to result. One's an iResult, one's an iResult of t. iResult of t does inherit from iResult, so they're both iResults, so that's good. So I could have a factory method that returns an iResult. Not sure that's helpful though. This thing has 5 references. It's used by all these things. I think they all just need to take in a value off of here, right? On result of t. And then I can get rid of this. So let's see what that looks like. We get rid of that, and we start saying everything needs a value. Then this error, but when there's an error, there won't be a value. That's the trick, right? If it's invalid, there won't be a value. If it's not found, there won't be a value. If it's forbidden, there won't be a value. So it has to be nullable in those scenarios. There we go. Alright, so fine. We'll make this thing nullable, I guess. Is there a way around that? How could I have a result of t not have to have the value? I suppose I could have a result with value or some other name type that has the value, and result of t wouldn't have the value. I'm not sure that's much different than, let's see, all these static types. What if they don't return results of t? What if they return a result? Is that a problem? Or even better, an iResult. Because an iResult of t has that, but an iResult has a status and errors, a validation error. So maybe that's the thing I want to do. Maybe I don't need this to be a result of t at all. If I return an iResult, and then this returns a new result, does that solve it? Result.errors cannot be used from here. Let's see, even result of t worked, but not when I got rid of the t error. Alright, so do I need result of t to inherit from result to make this work? Or at least make some of these things internal accessible? That might work. Alright, let's just follow this thread for a second. if I want this to be doable, I need a way to set that from this type. I can do it with internal. So if I make errors be internal set, then I would come over here and I would just do this be internal set, and that should work. And now it doesn't like this. Creating a result with a status is private. So I can make that internal also, which is probably okay. I mean, basically the only two types that are interacting here are result and result of t, and maybe paged result. So it's not terrible. Let's try taking that to its logical end. So we take all the ones that don't have a value, and we make them all iResult. iResult, iResult, and iResult. And then these all return that, and that, and that. And those are all fine, except validation errors needs to be internal set. And we should be pretty close. Now, if I ever get my tests running, they're going to all blow up. Yeah. That's okay. Non-nullifier identifier. Alright, so if I want to be able to set these through a constructor, we can make this basically a record type. I'm not up to C# 9 yet, so I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. And we'll make it so you don't have to pass the severity, because that will just default to that. But now these can be private set, or eventually init only. One of these constructors chain to the other. This one can. And I don't duplicate that. Alright. That works, I think. We got lots of problems still, mostly around paged results. See, non-nullable property value. Right, we still need to get rid of this. It's only got one reference now, so that's good. So we'll delete that. Alright, you don't like that now. Converting null literal or possible null value to a non-nullable type. Guess you could be nullable in the scope of this function. I know I'm going to set you though. If value is null, page result equals a new page result. Are we going to have one that's not t? What would be a paged result of no value? I don't think that even makes sense. And it has to return a page result of t. I'm still just not sure how this page result works in all of this. Let's fix the rest of these issues in Constructor. Alright, so I just made all these things have to be passed in their constructor. Which Makes these shorter at least. Right? Postal code extends. Alright, that's just what I'm expecting. Like that, right? And then this is the same thing. Contain equivalent of that and that. How much duplication do I have? Not too much. Should be equivalent to that. Should be equivalent to that. I suppose if I just set those as locals, I could use the locals down here. But that should be good enough. Alright, I don't care about page result constructor, but that's the only errors I have left. That's good. Alright, so I gotta figure this part out. Which is, how is a page result gonna make sense when it doesn't have a value? Does it? Let's see. Somebody on chat, tell me when you're going to use a paged result coming back from a method where there is no value. So you get some paged info but no value. Here's paged result. It's got some info. Paged info looks like this. Alright, so we're going to know page number, size, total page, total records, but hey, you got no value. Because we're in here and the value is null and the status is whatever, failure, you know, error. So I just don't understand how this makes sense. I brought you back page 2 with a page size of 10 of nothing. Like, what does that even mean? Nobody? Yeah, I don't know either. So if I get rid of this, so it always has to have a value. I could make a page result that isn't of t, but y, right? So then the trick is, okay, we do that, we come over here, and we say two-paged result, but we're back to just having this one. Because we have to have a value. If we don't have a value, we should throw, right? There's no reason to make a paged result with a value, with no value. So if value is null, throw. Otherwise, create the result. Yeah? Maybe? Guess it's a null ref. It's not really an argument. Message. Cannot convert result with null value to paged result. So we'll just punt on it like that. And then this goes back to this. And it gets its status. Alright, page result should give error message without value, same as result error. Okay, yeah. Well, as a consumer of the API, you're expecting a certain type. Message is very slow. Sorry. That's probably still my bandwidth. As a consumer, see, I still haven't figured out how you would consume this that would make sense, right? So in my sample here, I have some services, right? Here's a person service. When you create a person, you get back a result of person. If it's invalid, then you get a result of person that's invalid. And if not, then you get back a result of person.success with the person. Right? So that makes sense to me. And if you're in a service, you got this get forecast, and it gets you this IEnumerable of weather forecast. And for some postal code, maybe it doesn't find the thing, right? So it returns back a result of IEnumerable of not found. So this result of IEnumerable, I could see where you would use paging for that. This doesn't, and I'm not sure how I'd wire it in, but currently there's no paging here. It's just an enumerable of things. And if it's invalid, then it returns back an invalid, and if it's some other thing, what is this one? Return the result with a value, otherwise return this other result with a different value. Right? Yeah. So if it's 5555, then we get always value of 0 with a single value. Otherwise, this one's going to give us an enumerable range 1 to 5, so it'll give us 5 values. Still no paging. So I don't have any example that uses paging, and that's what's making me struggle with how to make this thing work. So let's say I wanted to have this support paging, right? I would have a paged weather service thing. Let's try that. So I would say something like public paged result of IEnumerable. Still IEnumerable of weather forecast, right? And paged result would ideally show up as a thing. Page result of T. That's a thing. Public page result of T. Get forecast paged. Forecast request DTO model. It's not really a model, but that's fine. Alright, why are you red? Too many closing brackets? No, that's fine. Generate the type. No. Install this. No. It's Ardalis dot result dot. Page result does not exist in Ardalis dot result. You know why? Because this thing uses a NuGet package reference. That's why, right? Yeah, that's why. Go away. Instead, I want to use a project reference to Ardalis result. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now we've got our type, and I can get rid of all that. Alright, so get forecast paged. I can do basically all the same logic I had in here, I think, but now with paging. Bam. I'm not sure where I define all the paging and stuff, but let's say if we're not found, we're going to return a paged result of blah 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 dot not found. Is that a thing? No, of course it's not. Can I convert an I result to a paged result? And paged result is not an I result. Do I need an I paged result? So paged result here. It's a result of T, which means it implements I result of T, which implements I result. But my return type here is paged result. And if I make that I result, I'm going to lose a lot of type information. It seems like. Because something's going to call this, right? Call this service, like this sample web here with a weather forecast endpoint, and it's going to say, hey, go get me this. And if I say paged, it's going to get some other action result and needs to deal with that. And if it's, I just don't know how this paging is going to work in practice. Paged info. So the page stuff got merged into master already? It must be, because that's where I pulled it in from. I'm starting to reconsider the wisdom of that. Let's see, if I just get rid of this bit, we keep paged result in here for now, but we don't necessarily leverage it fully. We go page result constructor. How do you create a paged result from a result? Currently, the expectation is to do it with this helper, which I'm killing. We need to send page number in get forecast async. Alright, so let's look at that. So we're here, create forecast or get forecast. Send page number. Why? Because you want to get a particular page from this weather service. Alright, get forecast paged. It's not async currently, but it could be. So in this DTO, it could include the page number that it wants, right? There's get forecast async right there. You're saying we would either pass a page number as a separate parameter, or in here we would have a page number, right? So for this postal code, give me the first page of forecast results. And if we did that, we would get back some paged info with it. And the idea with all of this is that we don't want to have to reinvent the wheel of paged info. We want to just have a standard paged info type that we could pass around that has all this stuff, right? These things all have 0 references, so we're not even using them. Page number and page size, right? Because you want it to be a paged thing. Yeah, so on this service, on get forecast async, we'd say, give me this. And we might include something here that says int page number, int page size, and it's all good. And then we would say, go get it from here, and it would need the same thing, and it would add int page number, int page size. And maybe this one doesn't take it. Maybe this one just assumes that it's going to be page 0 and whatever. Right? So this one we just created new. This one didn't exist before, right? Because we only had get forecast before. If we wanted it to always be paged, we could do that. I think the consumer needs to know whether or not it's paged, because the consumer needs to know to show each page of results. So I'd really need 2 of these. I'd need one of these to stay here, and one of them to go down there. I would pull this one out and put it right here. So those 2 go together. And up here I'd say get forecast paged async. And this didn't exist before, so nothing calls it. So I'd say int page index, int page size, something like that. Page index will default to 0. And just for fun, we'll give page size a default as well. And then here we'll say task.fromResult, get forecast paged, and pass along all the things. Like that. Alright. Get forecast page is going to expect those two things as well. Okay, so then when we get to this point right here, what do? We say, alright, the postal code is not found. So our page doesn't matter. We got nothing. We got no things. So if postal code equals not found, we're going to return something. Has to be this type, but it's got no value. Certainly no meaningful value. So if I look at page result, I got rid of this one, but I can bring it back. And this would return the paged info that I have to give it somehow, and a status. So what would that look like? Well, first I gotta set this. Base doesn't have a status. Base is result of T. We got rid of status on this one. There's no way to pass the status to that guy. So page result now needs to just set status itself, which it can do because status is private set, but it could be protected set. So here, if we open that up, so alright, you're protected set, right? So then page result can not do what it needs to do because now it's not passing in a value. I feel like I need an interface for page result, and it will not inherit from here if it doesn't have a value, right? To make it match what we're doing. So we would have something like public class page result, which inherits from result, and looks a lot like this. Like that. And does not take a value. It does take paged info and status, probably every time. Right? But it could say base status right there and not need that. Now this can go away and we're good, right? There's page result of T and there's page result. But the problem is now how do we reconcile those types here? Because now this guy needs to return a page result dot not found. And that has no way to work with a page result of T because this should be an I-paged result that it returns. Yeah, I'm just not liking this whole thing. So if I'm a consumer for this, let's come all the way up to this controller, this endpoint. Actually, the controller's probably better. So here's my controller. And I want to just be able to get the result from this service. And it might be an error, it might be a not found, it might be any number of things. And I just want that to translate into an HTTP response, right? So this is going to get translated with that. And I don't have to do anything. So this is nice. This is the whole value proposition for this abstraction. As soon as I start saying, you got to pick which interface you want, the one with the value or the one without, the type coming back has to know which one it is. And so I'm either going to get a type that has a value when it shouldn't, or I'm going to get a type that doesn't have a value and I have to cast it to go find the value. And neither one of those is good. So I feel like I'm back to just not having a non-generic result. So let's see. If we don't have a non-generic result, what did that cost us? Result value provided cannot be null. Yeah, we took care of that. Add non-generic result. Yeah, here's the thing. So this might require different, right. So this whole issue is just bad. And that's why I added it in August. Didn't think about it until December. Worked on it in December, and now it's just a mess. I don't think I can do a non-generic result to support void methods. If you want to call a void method, or if I do support it, they can't interrelate, which means what? All right, so this result is a create forecast. Let's say I wanted to add a forecast or add something. On the client side, you have to deal with deserialization of the model, right? But that's get handled for me in .NET Core. I don't have to worry about it. So when this thing happens, this translate here. If we go look at that code, it looks a lot like this, except for not commented out. But yeah, here's basically the code. And it returns an object result with result value, is how it works. And this is older code, but that's essentially what it does. So when this happens, that's where the serialization happens. Alright, so I had an example here to say, how do I do when I have a void and I want to return a result instead of void that doesn't have a value? That was the motivation for having a non-generic or a non-typed result. Mediator supports this with a unit type. So maybe that's what I need. Maybe I just return or create my own unit type. I'm going to look for that. So mediator unit type here. So what Bogard does is he says I have a unit type that's a struct and it represents a void type, since I can't have a void type as a return type. Alright? And so he just returns that. And so if I had something like this, like literally this, then my result of t when it needs to return something or be passed in something and it doesn't have a value, I could just pass in this unit and it would do all the right things. So that might be just what I need. And then instead of having all these different types that have some inheritance hierarchy and all that crap, we use that. So let me take this and comment here and say, consider keeping just the generic result of t, but using a unit type where there is no type, and for results from void methods. See that. Alright. Alright, so I feel like I'm not going to get this figured out here in the next 20 minutes. Alright, JF Stern asks, even if I'm using HTTP client, so you're saying, does what I said about that work even if I'm using HTTP client? So you're not talking about in your call, you're talking about in the server-side code if you were using HTTP client and you return something, right? And you have to deal with deserialization. Is that what you're asking? I'm not sure what you're asking. Give me a scenario. I mean, when a consumer is a desktop, it's using JSON.NET. Yeah, that's fine. That shouldn't matter. That desktop can post to this and say, hey, create me a forecast. And this thing will return back this, and it'll work fine. So if I run this thing, so it's set to start. This isn't going to work, though, because I got so many build errors. Boom. Yeah, sure. Run the last successful build. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so we could open Swagger, and we could go here, and your desktop app would pass in some postal code, right? So we would say try it out, and you would say give me 55555 execute, and it would say here is your serialized response. So you're going to get this serialized response with the data just fine, even though I'm using that result type. And if I say something else, then you might get a list of results, right? So it works either way. Does that answer your question? I mean, this is what you're going to get. It doesn't care whether it's a desktop or a JavaScript or whatever. You're going to get this. If you really want it to be something else, you can pass in an accept header that says, hey, I accept XML, and then you'll get the same thing but XML formatted. But you don't have to change any of the code that we're working with to get that. Alright, so looking at this, if I were to use a unit type, then I wouldn't need a result type. I'd be back to just having a result of t, right? So we'd be here, and we'd look at this, and get rid of that. So result of t. Two-paged result. If they didn't have a value, we would just pass in our unit type, and that would be fine. How does mediator use unit? Or does it use it itself? So where is this used? Unit test, unit test, unit t, unit. This isn't going to let me see where it's used. I need to clone the thing. Alright, so let me just play with this for a second. If I pull this out and just copy it, there's my struct unit. Alright, and I come in here and just go to the bottom of result. Let's go to result. Bottom of result, paste this in, we get unit. Need a couple using statements. Man, why does that not work? Okay, so now I need language version 9. But I can just say new unit to do the same thing, and that's fine. Alright, so we'll do that. And that works in C#8. Okay, so then we can do control dot, move to its own thing, put a note here, borrowed from here. Alright, so now I've got a unit type. Alright, well, yes, but if I can't be sure what type is coming back, that's true. Okay, I see what you're saying. So if I might have some value property, or I might have no value, because it's an error. But how is that really different than in JavaScript when you call something and you have an on error and an on success, right? I suppose those are callbacks, which is not the same as a type coming back. But it's fair that now you'd have to check to see if you've got a value that you can work with. But the whole point of this is that you should be checking, well, the type coming back, let's go back to our web controller. The type coming back from this is either going to have a model or it's not, right? If I were doing this by hand, if I was saying, hey, if model dot postal code equals 5555 return not found, like your client code had to handle that anyway. So that's the only thing that's changing here is like when it's invalid or when it's not found or when it's got errors, we're going to return those, and we're not going to give you the value. And that's no different than what it was doing before, right? From an HTTP, web API standpoint, this thing wasn't returning you a value anyway. If this model was invalid and model validation kicked you back and you had a invalid request, you wouldn't have had a model there either. So that this isn't any different from that perspective. So I think that's okay. I think result just has to die. I think result dies. We keep result of t, and we use unit anywhere that we don't know, right? So let me do a commit here, even though this is a big mess. Merge in progress with conflicts. Really? I thought I fixed it. There's no conflicts here, are there? I thought I was done with my merge. I'm gonna delete, well, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna delete this whole thing. So we're gonna use current. Okay, now we're gonna accept the merge. Good. Now we're gonna stage all the things. So that was the merge, commit that. And this is sorting out what to do with results that should not have a value. I'll commit all that. Alright, so there's still a bunch of problems here, but we'll just work with them at least in a way that we can now roll back to a previous commit. If you change the return type based on if you have a yeah, I already read that one. Alright, so in here, with result, I think I want to just delete this and go with this one. And then these all change back. So, is there anything on result I really need? It's a pretty simple type. Let's just nuke it. Nuke result. Come back to result of t. These all have to be a new result of t, but they're going to be getting in a unit value. So this is either a t value or a status and a value. Or actually a status that's going to pass in unit. So it's going to be public result result status colon base unit dot something unit. Do I say new unit? Unit. How do I use this thing? It's got a static read-only unit value, right? So it should be dot value. Yeah. Page result. No, not page result. Result of t. Unit dot value. Capital. There. And status equals status, like that, right? You're not happy, why? Object does not contain a constructor that takes one argument. Oh, not base, sorry, this. This unit value. Alright, now you are not happy because we're not the right type. Cannot convert to T. That's fair. Trillion, can you explain the purpose of this result? Yes, I could do that. That may help. If you look at this sample up here, you could have a service like create, and it might have reasons why it's successful sometimes and reasons why it's unsuccessful sometimes. And so you could throw exceptions and catch them somewhere and try and deal with that, and otherwise just return the person. But then you end up with a lot of duplicated code dealing with those exceptions and things. Like, what if the reason why it was exception was because it was invalid? What if the reason there was an exception was because, you know, the database was down, right? And so you have to handle all that somehow. And if you just throw them all as exceptions, then that code ends up being up the stack somewhere. So inside of, you know, some Is there a page here for any of this? Mediator, I don't know. Let's say here. So inside here, where you're trying to create this weather forecast, right, you would have a bunch of try-catch logic or a default error page or something, and you would be trying to show, like, well, here was a bad request, here's your validation errors, here it was an error, so here's the error page, here was it was not found, so here's a not found result. And so this gets long with all those things. And so result basically lets you return back a generic abstraction that you can use in your domain model with your services, and then translate it at the HTTP layer using a filter like this one into whatever you need to return over the wire to your client. With the idea being that it cuts down on boilerplate code that you have to put inside of your UI layer in your controller or your endpoint. And there's two ways you can do it. You can do it with a filter like that, or you can do it like this with a helper method that says toActionResult. And if you do toActionResult, then it converts this into this. So yeah, that's the short version. And then we're trying to figure out, well, how would you do this if this thing didn't return anything, right? What if the only thing I'm doing is I've got some service here, and service just, modifies a person or something, right? So let's see from here, what would it look like? So I've got a public result of person, and it's got a, thing that wouldn't return anything. So what would be a thing on a person that wouldn't return anything? I don't know, wish happy birthday, right? And it's takes in a person, and then, if it's their birthday, if, true, it's their birthday, then return result of person dot success result dot unit or something like that, right? So hey, you were successful, else do return result dot of person dot fail error, forbidden, invalid, I don't know. I guess I don't have a fail, do I? I guess we'd say error. Error messages, new string, it wasn't their birthday, right? So something like that. We'll see how that might work, but obviously this isn't quite how it would work. So I'm trying to figure out, like, on a essentially void method, how would you return? And I suppose this would have to be a result of unit because it's a void method. And then this success takes in a unit or unit.value, and that should work, right? Person, but because it's that, it needs to be that, right? And then that's fine. And this really isn't even necessary at that point. And then this just needs to be of unit also. Thing, comma, and it still needs a params string. I guess it just needs this, right? Because it's params. I don't need to pass in an array. Alright, why aren't you happy? Cannot convert an iResult to a unit. Result of unit.error. I know why, because I had refactored this here. Result of t errors, right. And that's what we were working on right here. So the trick was that this only works if that works. I wonder if there's a way for me to make this only available where t is unit. So we could say t value goes value. We can use generic constraints on this where t is unit. Something like that. Semicolon expected. How do we do that? Generic constraints, C# type, constraints on type parameters. Alright, so we need something like this, where t colon class, where t colon which class, where t colon base class name. Alright, that should work. That's what I did, right? So, result t value, this value, where t colon. Is that all I need? Doesn't like that. Does it go here? Where t colon unit. T colon unit colon this. Let's see, is there a way to do it on a constructor? Is that the problem? Constraints, generic constraint on a constructor. Generic constraints, C# constructor. I want that. You can't do this. Okay. Supply a delegate that can create objects. Alright, fine. So I need a factory delegate. Interesting. Alright, so I need a new public static result result status I don't really need a t value at this point though, do I? But I should pass it in just to make it so they can't use any other type. T value where t colon unit return new result of unit.value status equal status. This is still not happy though. Get rid of all that. Public static, I need a name for this thing. Public static result. Right. Result of t result. This should be create. Can't be the alright. Product static result of t create. So it's not allowed on non-generic declarations. So it is generic. It's got that. It's got that. What do you want? Public static something with t this, t that. Lambdas. I don't want to use a lambda. Type this. The only constructor constraint is for a no argument constructor. Wow, these do not look easy. Class where t. Alright, nothing in that was as clean as I would like. I just want this. And this is, feeling that returning void is a task for the converter. You always return result of t, and if the value is null, you actually convert it to an action result, otherwise an action result of t. Okay. So basically we want to go and get rid of this, is what we're thinking. Like, this is the root of all our problems, is that we said, you can't give us a null, because you should never give us a null. But as soon as we did that, it broke the whole world. Right? Yeah, I think this whole stream, is, aside, well, the specification part worked great, but this last hour or so is going to be just an exercise in, you know, exploratory design, let's call it, to be nice. But between the merge conflicts, the paged results, and me adding in this constraint, we've like totally broken this entire thing. So I think I'm going to just roll back to master for now. I'll keep this branch. Actually, let's do this. Let's make sure that branch is out there. So this is work in progress, probably throwing away that. We'll commit all the things. We'll push it out there to non-generic result. Which doesn't even have the non-generic result anymore because I deleted it. That's all good. Alright, let's go out and get master. Let's verify what's on master. Let's see if we can get all our tests to pass on master. Alright, so in master we have result. Result takes a value. If value is not null, we specify a value type. Not sure we need that anymore, but that's fine. There was some reason why we needed that at some point. Okay. And this is still not what's out there on NuGet, because the page result never made it out on NuGet. So page result is here. I don't have any samples yet that show how to use it. I would like to get that at some point, but I'm not going to wait for that right now. That all works. Let's do a minor change to our tests. And that's going to be, let's make this 3.1, which ought not to break anything. It'll fix some compiler warnings. Alright. Assets file, blah blah blah, okay, build, rebuild. And we'll just do a quick point release with the page result stuff and call it a day. So we got 4 minutes left. I can go a little bit over today. Trillium. It's basically a way to make your service layer return a result that's easier to interpret for an HTTP layer. Yes, pretty much. Yeah, it's to make it so your HTTP layer, which doesn't have to be HTTP, right? It could be any layer, any transport layer, doesn't have to figure out from exceptions what the heck happened. Right? You can give it more semantic information from your service, and it can use that to figure out what status code or whatever it wants to return. These are also useful with mediator, because a lot of times when you do a mediator command, it returns you back some type, and then you have to figure out what the heck happened, and if there's an exception and other things. With mediator, it can be a pain to figure it out. So this works well with mediator as well. Especially anytime you've got two processes that are communicating with one another, and you want to be able to give it back more information than just the success result or throw an exception, is the idea. So I have a sample here, I think, with mediator 2, or did at one point. Didn't I? Maybe that got pulled out. Maybe that's another branch. Alright, let's go look at source, result. Those don't need to change. Result. Let's just make this 3.1.0. And 3.1.0 is basically just going to have the paged info, right? So our package release notes is that we are adding paged result and paged info. Let's make sure all our tests pass. Didn't I do that? No. Not since switching to master. So hopefully all these work. They do. So now I'm just going to push this to master and hope that my build pipeline is set up correctly to take it. So publish. I can't remember anything at this point. 3.1, right? Yeah. Publish 3.1. Commit. And push. Alright, so we'll put the paged result stuff out there. If I later decide I hate it and want to pull it out, I'll just have to make a breaking change. I couldn't do that or that. That worked. Don't need that. We're done with